Und damit herzlich willkommen zu meinem neuen LP und zum Survival-Training mit Sean Riddick. Und wir legen auch gleich los, machen ein neues Spiel und natürlich, mir gefällt Metal Gear Solid 2. Und wir spielen auf normal.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask. Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Sunrise.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Prepare for drop-off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spread your wings.
And fly. God be with you.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
Don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, A certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin into orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why'd he want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the West. We used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba. And so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No, according to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the West. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking. Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the recovery point. A recovery balloon will be dropped at that point. Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proven.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat Talon?
She's equipped with 2 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as 2 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
Und damit, welcome to the jungle. Ich bin ein LP-Star, holt mich hier raus. Nein, Spaß beiseite. Wir sind jetzt im Dschungel. Und ich zeige euch jetzt, wie man im Dschungel am besten überlebt. Zum ersten haben wir hier Pilze. Pilze sind sehr gute Nahrungsmittel, mit denen man auch sehr gut überleben kann, wenn man die richtigen findet. Was fast noch viel wichtiger ist, ein ausreichendes Überlebenspaket vielleicht am Anfang mitzunehmen. Obwohl man sich auch, wie man sieht, sehr gut von Schlangen ernähren kann. Diese ist zum Beispiel essbar. Und jetzt habe ich mein Überlebenspaket verloren. Wo ist mein Überlebenspaket? Das ist irgendwo am Baum hängen geblieben. Naja, egal, das werden wir suchen. Zumindest sollte man ein paar Vorkehrungen treffen, bevor man sich so einfach in den Dschungel aufmacht, denn im Dschungel ist es auch ziemlich gefährlich. Oh, ich bekomme noch einen Anruf.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
Well, you've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training?
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. Oh, and Snake,
Yeah,
the crew isn't watching anymore. You can take off the disguise now.
good idea. This isn't right. Time for the snake to shed his skin.
Und damit auch Schluss mit dem Gelaber. Nein, wir spielen Metal Gear Solid 3 und ich freue mich so drauf, weil ich endlich eine TV-Karte habe, meine Playstation endlich läuft und ich mich schon so sehr auf dieses Spiel gefreut habe. Es ist die HD Collection, kann ich jedem nur empfehlen, sieht grandios aus im Gegensatz zum Original, also nicht im Gegensatz zum Original, aber zum Original ist es doch eine Steigerung. Und ich kann es nur jedem empfehlen. Dieser Teil ist episch, einfach nur episch.
Can you hear me, Major Tom? This is Snake. Kept you waiting, huh?
This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button. I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Ich verkneif mir jetzt den Witz mit dem Action-Button. Aber was ich unbedingt noch sagen möchte, also Metal Gear Solid 3 ist für mich der beste Metal Gear Titel überhaupt. Es gibt wirklich keinen besseren, finde ich. Er ist von der Story her sehr episch. Auch das neue Gameplay finde ich sehr interessant und auch sehr lohnenswert auszutesten. Also, nein, der Teil ist einfach der Hammer. So, jetzt muss ich hier irgendwie diesen Baum da hochkommen. Und an mein Backpack oder an meinen Rucksack kommen. Was aber nicht sehr schwer sein dürfte. Jawohl, ja.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun?
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She?
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission data. Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Huh?
Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
The boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
Boss?
That's right. It's me.
Oh.
Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top-secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You are a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your code name is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit, a group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Ja. Und apropos Mission, ich muss dazu sagen, dass ich dieses Spiel nicht blind spiele. Ich habe es, sagen wir mal, unter einer anderen Qualität gespielt und ich muss sagen, ich freue mich sehr auf die Bosskämpfe und das wird wahrscheinlich sehr, sehr spannend werden, da ich die Bosskämpfe jetzt sozusagen aufs Neue entdecken werde. Darauf könnt ihr euch schon mal freuen. Ich hoffe, es werden nicht zu viele Fehler passieren. Aber wir werden sehen. So, hier haben wir schon mal ein kleines, süßes Krokodil. Und ich hatte Lust, es zu töten. Weil ich Nahrung brauche, momentan zwar nicht. Au! Fuck it. Die sind sehr widerspenstig. Oh shit. Ich habe natürlich auch keine Lust, jetzt gleich zu sterben. Okay, das Krokodil mag mich nicht. Ich mag es auch nicht.
Snake, do you read? Snake!
Major.
Snake, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're far from okay. Look at your life gauge. You're on your last leg.
No, I can still...
See?
Snake, this is a solo sneaking mission. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Huh?
It means there's no backup, no cavalry. If you're taken out, nobody is there to take your place. Pull out for now and recuperate.
Find a hiding place and get some rest. Your life gauge will gradually recover with time. But the speed of your life gauge recovery depends on the level of your stamina gauge. So get plenty to eat, then get some rest. You hear me? Do you hear me?
I hear you.
Gut, dann sollte ich lieber aufhören, dieses Krokodil zu ärgern. Aber was ich mir noch schnappen werde, ist dieses Hornissennest da. Ah! Oh, das ist gerade nicht sehr gut. Weil da mich die Hornissen gerade verfolgen. Das ist gerade ganz schlecht. Aber ich werde mich wohl etwas ausruhen müssen. Ich weiß jetzt noch nicht, wie schnell sich das wieder auflädt. Ich laufe einfach mal ein bisschen weiter, denn ich habe ja noch ein bisschen Zeit. Bis die wirkliche Action anfängt. Was ist im Antesten gerade besser gelaufen?
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed. You can see how effective your camouflage is by looking at the camo index. The camo index shows how well your current camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value, the harder you are to spot, and vice versa. The key is to make yourself one with nature. Keep that in mind as you go along, okay?
So sieht's wohl aus. Die Tarnung wird uns hier sehr wichtig werden. Um uns noch besser zu tarnen, werde ich jetzt auf jeden Fall erstmal in diesen Baumstamm krabbeln. Werde ich krabbeln. Und dann schauen wir uns doch einfach mal die Tarnung an. Ich denke zwar, dass ich gerade perfekt ausgerüstet bin. Bin ich nicht, wie ich gerade sehe. Tigerstreifen würden zum Beispiel hier im Baum besser funktionieren. Die werde ich auch mal anziehen. So. Und für die Gesichtsbemalung würde mir natürlich eine Waldbemalung besser helfen. Sehr gut. So, jetzt werde ich hier ein kleines bisschen warten müssen, bis ein Gegner kommt, und den werde ich dann aber auch betäuben. Da haben wir ihn schon. Den lasse ich noch ein bisschen herankommen. Sehr gut. Ja, worauf es hier wirklich ankommt, ist es, sich gut zu tarnen, beziehungsweise auch, ja, regelmäßig Nahrung zu finden. Momentan ist es noch relativ egal, da meine Statusanzeige, also die unter der Lebensanzeige, die zweite unter dem Namen sozusagen die Stamina oder die Ausdauer angeht. Und solange diese gefüllt ist, füllt sich natürlich auch das Leben langsam wieder auf. Was ich persönlich eigentlich besser finde als in den neuen Metal Tier geilen Teilen, wo man sich einfach mit einer Ration wieder hochheilen kann. Hier ist es wirklich mehr auf Survival und Überleben ausgelegt. Und natürlich weiß ja jeder, sobald man irgendwas isst, heilt man sich nicht irgendwie automatisch, sondern es ist halt wirklich so, dass man eigentlich eine Ruhephase braucht, und diese Ruhephase hat man hier in diesem Spiel. Zumindest muss man die sich ab und zu mal nehmen. So wie ich gerade, weil ich gerade mir diesen Fehler mit diesem Krokodil da geleistet habe. Und jetzt werden wir erstmal schauen, dass wir hier den nächsten Gegner noch erwischen. Denn ich habe keine Lust, hier entdeckt zu werden. Wo ist er denn? Der läuft da hinten rum. Ich hoffe, hier läuft noch kein anderer rum. Zur Not kann man natürlich sich auch immer das Sonar bzw. den Bewegungsmelder einstellen. Was jetzt in diesem Fall nicht nur gegnerische Soldaten, sondern auch Tiere anzeigt. So, den haben wir erwischt. Allerdings auch wieder batteriegestütztes, was dazu führt, dass man den nicht ewig einsetzen kann. So, den werde ich jetzt erstmal hier ein bisschen verstecken. Und ich sehe gerade, mein Tarnungsindex ist gerade nicht sehr gut. Jetzt ist er wieder gestiegen, weil ich in der Nähe eines Baumes bin. Den da hinten abzulegen ist vielleicht eine sehr gute Idee. Und jetzt muss ich gucken, ob hier noch mehr Leute rumlaufen. Ja, da haben wir zum Beispiel noch einen. Der dürfte mich momentan nicht sehen. Jetzt hat er mich entdeckt, aber mit 2 Schüssen ist er auch schon betäubt. Da ich ja sowieso nur die Betäubungswaffe momentan habe. Und ich werde mich jetzt an dem auch weiter vorbeischleichen, denn... Ja, da läuft nämlich noch einer rum, aber ich muss sowieso hier hoch. Also von daher ist es mir relativ egal. Wie gesagt, das ist bisher auch nur eine Art Einleitung zu dem ganzen Spiel. Wirklich spannend wird es erst später, aber ihr werdet es gleich noch sehen. Insoweit werde ich heute noch spielen. Ist auch erstmal nur so ein kleines Antesten. Ich hoffe, ich werde mit Schleichen ganz gut durchkommen. Wie gesagt, dieses LP wird sich eine ganze Weile ziehen, da die Story-Parts sehr lang sind. Und ja, wenn man wirklich schleichen möchte, muss man sich auch anstrengen. Oh, ich hoffe, der hat mich jetzt nicht gesehen.
There's nothing here.
Ah, fuck. Den muss ich leider betäuben. Oh, shit.
The enemy. He's here.
Das sollte eigentlich nicht passieren. Ja, okay, den konnte ich gerade noch so betäuben. Allerdings habe ich gesehen, dass hier hinten schon die zwei auf dieser Brücke da entgegenkommen. Bei mir entgegenkommen. Deshalb werde ich die mal ganz schnell ausschalten. Oh Gott, ist die Brücke wackelig. Die ist sehr wackelig. Und was ich zudem noch machen werde, ist die... Oh, ja. Ausnehmen hat sich gerade erledigt, denn die sind ins Wasser gefallen. Wow. Also die Brücke ist sehr wackelig und man fällt auch ziemlich sehr schnell runter. Wow. Okay, das ist mir vorhin auch nicht passiert. Ja, natürlich ist dort noch ein weiterer Soldat. Den werde ich jetzt auch gleich mal betäuben. Ah, fuck!
Come in, HQ.
This is HQ.
Shit, der hat schon
Respond.
das HQ angerufen.
There's something wrong. Support unit, confirm their status.
Shit. Jetzt bin ich natürlich gespannt. Ich glaube, jetzt werden bestimmt noch... Oh ja, da kommen schon welche. Das heißt, ich muss mich hier weiterhin versteckt halten. Mit einem Camo-Index von 85 sollte das wohl möglich sein.
All clear.
Okay, die werden jetzt den aufwecken. Ich hoffe, die wecken die anderen nicht auf. Es läuft gerade extrem schlecht und ich glaube, das wird sich wahrscheinlich das ganze LP so durchziehen. Hoffe ich mal nicht, aber... Ich muss mich wirklich, wie gesagt, ein bisschen an die Steuerung noch gewöhnen. Ich bin ja sowieso den PlayStation-Controller nicht so gewohnt. Fuck. Ja, sind die jetzt weg oder muss ich mir noch Sorgen machen? Ich habe gerade so gar keine Ahnung. Einfach mal auf den Bewegungsmelder gucken. Es sieht gut aus. Es sieht sehr, sehr gut aus. Die sind wahrscheinlich schon längst nicht mehr da. Dann lassen wir den ja erstmal in Ruhe schlafen. Sammeln ein, was auch immer er ausgespuckt hat. Und schauen mal, was uns hier unten erwartet. Da haben wir doch schon ein kleines Versteck gefunden. Wie gesagt, das ist noch der leichtere Part des Spiels. Was haben wir hier? Eine XM16E1. Munition ist voll und ein bisschen Pentazemin, was uns auch noch sehr gut weiterhelfen wird, aber das werde ich später erklären, für was das gut ist. So, und dann denke ich mal, geht's hier oben weiter. Keine Gegner da, keine Gegner da, perfekt. Ab in den nächsten Abschnitt, Rasvet. Oder wie man das auf Russisch auch immer ausspricht.
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump. I can't see Sokolov from here. The security is pretty tight. There are sentries posted around the perimeter. I wonder how many are inside.
Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room in the northeast section.
Northeast section. Got it.
Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing, Snake.
You mean there's more?
No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me.
And that is?
Sorry for being so late.
Is that all?
Yes.
Understood. Beginning my approach to the target.
So, und das wird auch jetzt sehr, sehr spannend, weil ich diese Stelle ja, sehr schlecht in Erinnerung habe. Also ich finde diese Stelle schon mal relativ schwer. Zumindest auch schon, da es am Anfang ist. Aber ich werde mein Bestes geben, hier unbemerkt vorbeizukommen. Hinter den Fässern liegen bleiben ist, glaube ich, eine ganz gute Idee. Ich werde mal meinen Bewegungsmelder einschalten, damit ich weiß, wo sich die Wachen befinden. Und ich auch gerade nicht so sehe, was diese eine Waffe da macht. Ich hoffe, die dreht sich jetzt in dem Moment nicht gleich um, während ich hier in das Gras rolle. Und ich nämlich, während ich im Gras robbe, sofort die Sicht verliere. Obwohl ich mir sehr gut vorstellen könnte, wenn ich den jetzt im Gras ausschalte, dass er dort ungesehen liegen bleibt. Ja, leider noch ein bisschen offensichtlich, aber ich glaube, das könnte ausreichend sein. So, dann robbe ich mich hier weiter. Ich habe nämlich einen guten Tipp bekommen, wie ich das hier sehr gut regeln könnte. Diesen ganzen Part, und den werde ich jetzt auch einfach mal ausprobieren. Okay, da hinten haben wir auch noch einen. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie lange die Wachen betäubt sind, aber ich hoffe einfach mal, dass es ausreichend ist. Radar mal ganz kurz ausschalten, weil ich die Umgebung gerade gut im Blick habe. Ich habe da vorne einen gesehen, jetzt weiß ich nur nicht, wo er sich lang bewegt. Ich sehe ihn auch gerade nicht mehr. Der ist irgendwo da hinten. Hier sehe ich auch keinen mehr. Das macht mir gerade so ein bisschen Sorge. Aber die Atmosphäre ist schon mal sehr, sehr geil von dem Spiel. So, dort sehe ich niemanden. Ja, da hinten ist jemand. Auf jeden Fall. Und hier wahrscheinlich, also beziehungsweise da hinten ist sowieso jemand. Allerdings sehe ich den gerade überhaupt nicht. Ich habe keine Ahnung, wo der sich aufhält. Es kann jetzt sein, dass er gleich direkt vor mir auftaucht und ich mir ins Unterhemd scheiße. Wo ist der hingelaufen? Oh, da ist er. Ich habe ihn gefunden. Ich habe ihn gefunden. Sehr schön. Das war's auch für ihn. Und laut Radar dürfte jetzt auch keiner mehr hier in der Nähe sein. Zumindest sieht es momentan so aus. Und ich werde jetzt die Leiter hochklettern. Das wurde mir auch gesagt, dass das funktioniert. Und mich erstmal langsam hier auf dem Dach bewegen. Das sind ein paar Vögel. Ob ich mich mal trauen soll, mir so einen Vogel einzuschläfern? Vielleicht gibt er eine ganz gute Mahlzeit ab. Für später. Denn hier gibt es zwei Möglichkeiten. Man kann Tiere direkt töten und mitnehmen. Leider passiert es dann auch sehr oft, ja, dass das Essen einfach schlecht wird. Und ungenießbar. Und wenn man die fängt, hat man die noch ein bisschen für länger und kann sie dann später freilassen und essen. Ja, man muss sich hier von dem Wildleben ernähren.
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of GRU. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, Khrushchev has been pursuing a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Volgin of the GRU. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power. The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come. I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
By the way, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America's truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.